Alright guys, welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about borders in CSS. So first off, let's remove our styles and let's start our section. So basically, to add a border to your CSS, I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, so we just have hello world. So to add a border to, in our style, basically what we do, we say border and hyphen style, and there are different styles for a border, but for now I'm going to say solid, and then I'll save. Let me refresh the page, and as you can see, we have like a border around this div. Okay, but then there are other things we can specify. So border style solid, we can say border, and we can specify this to 1 pixels, 1 px, and then we save. I refresh the page, and as you can see, the width is thinned out. So but let's see about 10 pixels or 5 pixels, and save. I refresh the page, and you notice something, it becomes bigger, right? Good. Now the last property I want to talk about is border hyphen color, and then I can just specify whatever. So I'm just going to choose this one. Okay, so chart reuse, so it's like some kind of light green now, I don't know, and then I'll save and refresh the page, so it changes the color of our border. Okay, so basically this is how you add a border to your CSS, to your HTML using CSS. But then you can also say something like border for just the top, and then I'll save, I refresh, and bam, so the border is just on the top. At the same time, you can specify border for the left, right, and bottom. So I'm just going to go with bottom right now, and then I'll save, and then I'll refresh, so the border only appears at the bottom. So but then this is a whole lot of code. There's a way we can write a shorthand for this. So to write the shorthand, first off, I'm going to comment all of this out. So I'm going to say comment, control and /. So to write the shorthand for our border, basically I'm just going to say border, and I'll say is equals to 1. Okay, I'll go with 5px, and then I'll say solid, and then I'll give it a color of green, and then I'll save. Now let's refresh the page. Boom. So remember, we've commented these first 3 lines of code out on 11, 12, and 13. So basically this is the code that is actually creating this border around our div. Okay, so border, the border width, the border style, and then the border color. So 5px, solid, and green. Okay, so basically that's how you specify your border. Now I'll show you one other trick with working with borders. Oh, what am I doing? I'm just gonna say this. Now supposing we wanted, we didn't want this smooth solid border. There are different kinds of border style we can choose. So I'm just going to come to my Google and say CSS border, and let's see what comes up. So W3 schools, yeah, I'm going to open this up, and yeah, so there are different styles, so you can just check out W3 schools. So our border style has different styles. So there is dotted, dash, solid, double, and a whole lot. I'm just going to go with dotted. So now let's come and say border style, and I'll say DOTTED and save, and let me refresh my page, and boom, so you can see it's different. So basically that's how work with borders in CSS. So supposing I wanted the different angles, sides of the border to have different width. Basically what I can just do is I can say border width hyphen width, right? And I'll specify different width for my border. So I'll just say I want the top. So it always starts from the top. It goes clockwise starting from the top. So something like top, right, bottom, and then left. So now let me show you what that means. So if I want the top to be 2 pixels, so I'll say 2px, I'll give a space, and then the right, I want the right to be 5px, so p and x, and then I want the bottom to, let's just keep it consistent and say 2px, and then the left I'm going to make 5px, and then I'll save, and then I'll refresh. Boom. So you can see the top and the bottom have smaller width, unlike the right and left that has 5px. So this is how you specify, like a shorthand way of giving the different sides of the border different width. So but then there is even a better way to write this. We want to write less code. So for the top and bottom I want it to be 2px, and the left and the right I want it to be 2px. So basically what I'll just say is I'll just delete and say 2px and 5px. Basically what this is the 2px is going to be for the top and the bottom, and the 5px is going to be for the right and the left. So I'll save and refresh, and then nothing changes. So that's because this is like a shorter way of writing. So this is how you write border, but typically in CSS we like to use the shorthand. In other words, we just specify the border and 5px solid green if you need your border around the content. Okay, all right. But so one last thing we're going to look at in our border is our border radius. Okay, but for us to really appreciate the border radius, I'm going to change this dotted to solid ID, and I'll save, and let's refresh. So we have a solid border, but then I'm also going to make it 2 pixels all around, and I'll save, and then I'll refresh. Boom. So we have 2 pixels all around. But one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give the first section a width, okay, of 50% of the page. So it's going to occupy 50% of the page, and then I'll refresh. So we have something shorter. Should I increase the height? All right, let's increase the height just a little bit. HEIG and HT, and I'll give the height 100 pixels, 100px, and then I'll save, and then I'll refresh. Boom. So now let's add a border radius. So this is where we're actually coming to. So border and hyphen radius. Now this border radius, essentially what it does is that it adds like a kind of rounded corners at the edge of the border. So I'm just going to say border radius, and I'll say 10px, or let's just say 10%, and then we save, and now let's refresh. Boom. So we see that the corners are rounded. If we increase it to 20, let's just say 20, and then refresh the page. So now if we want to make this a circle, basically what we need to do is we need to make the width and the height same. So I'll say width of 100 pixels. Instead of percent, I'll just say 100px, and then I'll save. I'll refresh the page, and now to make it a circle, what we just need to do is to make this border radius 50%, and then we save, refresh, and we have a circle. Okay, so that's how you create a circle in CSS. To make things more interesting, I can add a background color and give it a background color of, let's see, I'm really not particularly good with colors, but I'll just choose this one, and then I'll save and refresh. Boom. So we have a circle right here. Okay. So that's about borders and adding a border radius. So particularly when we create forms and we style our forms, we're going to use border radius to, make the form a little bit curved at the edges. Okay. So that's it about borders. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. See you in another one.